I think our initial rationale for creating a dashboard was to be able to create a centralized location where staff could see multiple data points in one place, and to see it in a visual way so that they could track student progress. I think what we realized as we started to design it was that we had to be really thoughtful about how we structured the data. And that's when we had brought you on because we needed to think about like, how are we structuring our data so it's going to be most useful to appear in Looker Studio and give us the type of visualizations that we wanted. I think we also started to realize that it could be a place where we not just keep quantitative data, but also qualitative. So at the same time, we were starting our district-wide portfolios and student-led conversations and celebrations. And we see that as a really important part of understanding and knowing the whole child. So by adding in the link directly to the student portfolio, someone could go and look at an individual student's page, kind of see their progress on multiple data points, but then also see their portfolio, which has samples of their work and shows their growth from a student's lens. So I think that was really important as well. We also now have a separate dashboard that focuses more in on the student portfolios and student-led conversations and celebrations. And that's allowed us to house resources for our staff. And because that's gone really well, like staff see that as a place where they can go and get easily linked to resources that they need. We're going to take that model now and make a curriculum dashboard where we're going to house all our curriculum in there. We're just in the beginning phases of that, but as we're redoing some of our curriculum, we've decided we're going to house it in that similar dashboard so that using the tools that Looker Studio provides, we can easily filter. Teachers could go in and filter like what unit they're looking for, what lesson they're looking for, and then pull up a link to the folder with all the materials in it. So this way they're not having to dig through like shared Google Drive files. It's really interesting. Like looking at the dashboard, you can decide you can use the same spreadsheet, but then create different interfaces for different groups, which I think is really powerful. So I think teams now more often, like during they have full team meetings and then what we call like a hands up meeting. And in the hands up meeting is when they really do like a deeper dive into student needs. And so they'll pull up the dashboard because now just at a glance, they can look and see how students are progressing. So we store iReady data, the district math assessments, SBAC data, so they can really get like an overview of a student's progress by looking at that and then seeing what their needs might be. We also, I know other groups we have filters where you can filter by high needs groups. So I know some teams look at their high needs groups to see how they're progressing as well and kind of track the data. Another nice feature is you can easily export, like if you wanted to see all the students that fall in a particular level band, you can easily export that out to track students and make planning for goals for those students that maybe fall within a particular band, whether it's enrichment or like the MTSS process, like finding a tier intervention for that particular group. So I think more and more teachers in those hands-up meetings or in the MTSS process are using the dashboard as a resource to inform what they need and to help use it as a tool to help guide their planning basically for student growth. So I've seen it have a really positive impact on our staff in terms of just making data more accessible. I don't think we're 100% there yet. We want to add, I think right now it gives us kind of that overview level of staff, but of students, but my goal is to really be able to dig deeper into standards because we're moving our report card or progress reports to standards based. And so what I want the dashboard to be able to reflect is when staff is trying to communicate with families about a student's progress, they have aligned on the dashboard the data they need to have the evidence to share that communication. So it's not kind of a gut feeling to say like you actually have the data to support it. That's kind of our next goal is to really focus on the standards and domains so that we can track progress across several different assessments so that teachers really have the evidence. And that will help them also see not only to communicate with families, but then what they need to focus on when they're developing and designing lessons because it's more targeted and more focused. And my hope is if we can eventually get that to the dashboard, because right now what happens is they can get an overview on the dashboard, but then they have to go into like iReady or go into Dibbles and dig deeper. So my hope is that when we eventually can get there, that they can find it all in the dashboard. So then they'll have easy access. It's kind of